Yeah.
I'm here with the legendary Christian Hosoi. I want to do a little interview, get his opinions on things. Starting off, when did you start skating? How did you get started?
You know, it was really my dad's influence. He surfed in the 50s and 60s, and you know, he moved to California, and that's where I was born. And that's when, you know, the 60s. I was born in '67, so skateboarding was kind of the hot thing. And being a surfer, it was just sidewalk surfing. It really wasn't skateboarding. It was what they did when the waves were flat. And so he just told me, hey, you know, come on down and let's go. Here's a skateboard, and let's go down to the beach and skate. And that's where I kind of like, was like, you know what? I think this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And because it was either surfing, Bruce Lee martial arts, or skateboarding, and that's what, you know, just said, you know what, skateboarding is going to be it for me. Just hold on a second till I'm done with this interview, okay, little Ripper?
If you really need to
Yeah, you can be in it.
if you need to sign it, you can sign it if you want. We can just okay, that's
So
fine.
who were some of the surfers and skaters you looked up to in person?
You know, it was Jerry Lopez, you know, Mark Richards and stuff like that, you know, back in those days, Michael Ho. But for skateboarding, it became Jay Adams, Shogo Kubo, Tony Alba, people like that who I saw in the magazines in the 70s. And I just went, man, you could get your picture in a magazine. You could actually, like, make a living, have this as a job. I was like, this is it for me. You know, if I don't have to, like, you know, if I could just skateboard for a living, I won't have to work a day in my life. I'll just do what I love to do and never have to, you know, feel like I have a job. And that's pretty much how it's been ever since.
That's great. Had you ever gotten to session with some of those guys back in that day in the 70s? Or?
Yeah, they raised me. Marina Del Rey, Venice Beach, and so I happened to be at the right place at the right time, and so those guys raised me up to be, you know, who I became, you know, in the 80s, which was, you know, one of the, you know, guys that was, you know, leading the charge in, you know, creating tricks, winning contests, and just making a career out of skateboarding. So they were the ones that kind of taught me the ropes, helped me, you know, be, I guess, what they, you know, thought skateboarding was real cool, and you know, but also to respect what I do, love what I do, not take it for granted. Those are the principles that I learned from those guys. And it's not about the money, it's not about the fame, it's really about, you know, being a hardcore skateboarder. And that's what those guys taught me. And I just took it to a whole nother level. You know, I mean, when it came to business and skateboarding and traveling the world, and, you know, so those guys really raised me up to be who I am.
So being at a young age, they were pretty much what helped you through. So that's a lot to handle for someone at a young age to blow up like you did in the 80s. And,
yeah, you gotta have like some inspiration, you know, somebody who's inspiring you, and guys that, you know, can be your example, your idol, you know, and that's what those guys do.
That's great. Well, of course, in the 80s, you created the legendary hammerhead shape. How did that design come about?
You know, I stared with the fish board. You know, I'm going to make this board. It's going to be a flat nose, cut out sides, and swallow tail. And it was all for function. I was like, I'll light up my board, and then I'll make the nose so I can take the big, huge tail taps, air to tail taps, flat nose, lean to tails, and then the swallow tail was for PVC coating for tail taps, because with a round tail it would just slip off the coating. And back then we had PVC coating on rims, and so that was the whole function behind it. But then when I started my own company, I said, how am I going to change my company? I said, well, how can I make it more functional? And I said, well, I'll create a notch for where I do backset airs, because I did backset airs. I said, I'll just cut that out, and then I'm like, what am I going to do with the rest of the board? And I looked at my tail, and I'm like, I'll just make a swallow nose too. And then I looked at the nose, and it was like a hammerhead, and I go, oh, it went from a fish to a hammerhead, and then boom, that was it. That was it. That was how it was born.
Oh, it's a great shape. Do you feel even today, I see a lot of the pros, they ride the popsicle shapes on her, but I noticed in some of your recent pictures, you're riding hammerhead type shape. Do you think there's still advantages to that shape, or maybe people should try those as opposed to the popsicle stick?
Well, definitely for my type of skating, I don't do any switch tricks. You know, and I think that's where, you know, popsicle stick is forwards for doing tricks, barreling your board, landing with the board backwards, still being able to ride it and do another switch trick. And so skateboarding has become so advanced with the technicality of it. You have to have a specific board. Mine being a front end and a back end, you know, it's all about, for me back then, it was all about going fast, going high, being stylish. And so really I don't need to have a board like that. And then I like to look down at something that's my own, and then that is functional for me. And so it still works. It's all the things that I just told you. It's just a little bit more advanced for my skating today.
Right. No, it was a great shape back on one point. Found it.
But if you look at my 2010 Hammerhead, it's still got the Hammerhead nose, but it's got a whole different back end. But very similar. It's my shape, and you know, when you look at it, you go, that's a Hosoi board. So that's something that I like to, you know, have as my own. It's being creative, it's having your own imagination, and I think that's the fun part about skateboarding that you know, a lot of guys missed out on because it's so advanced and it's so technical that they have to ride that. But you see guys, you know, nowadays street skaters coming up with their own little different skateboards and they're selling them, which is it's fun. And I think that's what skateboarding is about.
Absolutely. That was a big thing when I had a shop that I had to correct some kids on, to just go and have fun with it, because of course there's a concern about the sponsorship and stuff and whatnot. So, but I know you got to come to Texas a lot back in the day, and what are some of your highlights or better memories of skating in Texas?
You know, highlights are obviously the Shut Up and Skate days, you know, and hanging out with Tex and Phillips and Craig and all the Texans. I mean, it was one big raging skateboarding fiasco. You know, we skated all day. We raged and went to parking garages at night. It was like, you know, always just skateboarding at the top of the list, and then, you know, building friendships and that you know, are memories that are embedded in my mind, that are just like where my skateboarding, you know, history comes from, and to think we were like inventing tricks and traveling around the world, coming back to Texas to, you know, present it all on a platform. It's a ramp, you know, it's just amazing that Texas was a big part of skateboarding. And so, you know, and it breeded some of the best skateboarders in the world. You know, R.I.P. You know, Jeff Phillips, you know what I mean? That, you know, he was one of the leaders out here that really took skateboarding to that next level. Won contest and was a big influence, and still is an influence today. We still talk about him all the time on his power and his style and his attitude, and you know, he's missed, but you know what he's done for it will last forever. You know, so Texas is a big part of skateboarding, and I was just blessed to be a part of that history. You know, to be involved with it, and so being here today just makes that even extra special. You know, that I can still be a part of it and still come and see all the guys and the new skate parks and everything. So it's still rolling on.
Yeah, well, it's great that we've got the partnerships and stuff coming together. It's just like the other ones around town. Galveston has one. There's one out in the Woodlands of Bear Branch. So I think it's great that kids have the opportunity to skate that kind of stuff and have it available.